I was making an Nvidia filters video. Sounds
What
fun,
video?
doesn't it? Say hi to
Yeah,
YouTube.
it does. Hello, YouTube.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over Nvidia filters for PUBG, and especially on the new map, Taego. It's a very beautiful map, as we're seeing right now flying over, and I'm honestly so stoked for this map. We've been waiting for an 8x8 map for a long time, and of course, when I drop in, I want it to look the best as it can be. And honestly, PUBG's done a really good job so far. So today we're just going to be going over my filters. I'm going to drop in and show you them really quick. I'll try to find a nice little safe spot, and we'll just get right to it. And for anyone who's curious about my monitor specs and like the Nvidia Control Panel like info, that's all going to be down in the description. It's going to be totally different for everybody. I understand that. So I just wanted to throw my details down below. All right, so now we are in game. As you can see, there's some players nearby that I wanted to get a shot of before we just go and do some of the tests here. So if we open up Alt F3, that opens up our game filter. I have all the styles here. I'll go over the details in a minute. So if you want to skip ahead, I'll have the timestamps ready. But here's off and on with players nearby. So those players pop a pretty decent amount, and it takes out a lot of those just unwanted shadows. So I personally think it's a great little improvement that we were doing. First, I did brightness and contrast, then graded some color in, and then finished with details. So we'll be going over that in a second once I land. I'll find somewhere kind of safe to play, and we'll go over those real quick. Wow, this looks pretty darn awesome. Okay, so now that we have the game filters open, like I said, I first graded in brightness and contrast. So if we look at here, my settings for brightness in game is just at 50. So technically you can do some brightness adjustments through there. That is totally fine, or through your monitor settings in general. Like I said, I have all that in the description for what I use personally. But for my exposure, I bumped it up to 9%. So if we look at it at 0, that's kind of what it was at. Bump that up to around 9, and that's kind of what you get out of it. It gives it a little more just brightness in general, not too blown out in the highlights. Contrast itself, very minimal contrast added. Can't really see too much detail. Okay, so like there you go. There's if you add a lot. I just added a little bit. It gives a nice little punch to the guns and anything close in the shadows, but nothing too gross. If you look out in the distance, you can see the highlights changing in like the foggy kind of look. Cutting that back a little bit is just kind of nice in general, just to have out of the way. So I just dropped that down to 20%. If you do it anymore, it kind of flattens out the image. It doesn't look that great. Here's shadows. I dropped that down to 30%. It helps a lot inside of just buildings and even the tree lines. I might even jump down to the tree lines real quick here, and we can move forward into color. All right, so moving into color, we can start out with tint intensity. So that's like if you need to change a certain color, if it looks like too green, which in my other video that I've done so far in Warzone, it looks a little too green. So I changed a little bit of the tint color to more blue and kind of added a little bit more, I don't know, just like liveliness to the map instead of it being super green and hazy. Here it looks great. It just looks great on its own. So I didn't really mess with that, and just keep those at 0. Temperature, it auto jumped to 0.5 for some dumb reason, but I didn't have to mess with temperature. Vibrance is one thing I did mess with. So as you can see in the gas pumps, you can add a lot of color. Around 40 looked pretty good without blowing out a lot of the colors. So I just kind of kept that there, and it looked pretty good. And then moving on to detail really quick. I did bump up a sharpening just a hair. You won't really notice too much of a difference on the sharpening aspect. I don't like over sharpened images. Clarity though, that's where you can get a little more depth. If you look at the shadows right around the gas pump line, that makes it look pretty sharp in that sense, but not too bad. And then we'll look at HDR toning in the plane here. So what this does, as you can see, it adds in a lot of shadows if you push it down, and if you want to push it up, it takes out a lot, but it doesn't hinder the colors of the map, which is nice. So you can kind of drag this to wherever you really feel it preferable. I was around 40, so I think that looks good. It still bounces a lot of good contrast, but nothing too much so you're losing people in shadow. It looks good. I think it looks great. So we'll do one more on-off over the plane here. So that's what it looks like off. This is what it looks like with it on. I think that looks a lot better. If you like this video, then definitely give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe for more content, you know what to do. We're going to have some more of these tutorials coming out here very soon. And we'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a good one.
Okay. Have a good night, dude.
See ya. That guy was awesome.